All right, folks, we are back. More Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising. More very December content shenaniganry for the 1 year of the channel here. And this is something that I've talked about a lot in various videos, kind of scattered around. But I never had like one concentrated video where I kind of gave all of my thoughts on Granblue's rank system. The good, the bad, the ugly, the great. There's some great in there for sure, right? Catalina's a healthy top tier, so true, Cookie. I'm sure you're not biased at all. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of like just sit down and talk about the Granblue rank system, sort of the history of it as well, because it's changed in a couple of different ways, and my opinions on those changes. Were they good, were they bad? And then also some things that I think are still maybe missing. I think, I will say, I'm going to preface this by saying, I think, like, Granblue's rank system is pretty good. Are there things I wish were better? Yes. I think it's not bad, though. Like, in terms of, you know, it works pretty well. Like, it does what it's supposed to do, I think, for the most part, right? I'm quite happy with it. There are things that I think could be done better, though, and I think they're moving in the right direction overall. As like a quick summary of my thoughts there. But real quick, before we get started here, as always, you know, we're doing lots of different kinds of content in December here. So if you want to, you know, any kind of feedback on certain types of videos, so I know what you guys like and don't like, what you want to see more of, we've got 30 days to fill here. So feedback early on will sort of steer what I do more of over the course of the month. So any kind of likes, all that, you know, let me know. If you comment to say, you know, I didn't like this, that's also kind of fair. Just like be reasonable about it, be nice, or hurt my feelings. Also, I do stream every day from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, except Fridays. So come by and hang out, Twitch or YouTube there. Sundays are the Granblue day. Mondays is Guilty Gear. Tuesdays is Street Fighter. Wednesday, Thursdays are tournaments. Two tournaments that I run, and Saturdays will be sub only. But don't worry about that too much. All right. So, without further ado, though, let's go. Real quick, I want to talk. Well, Master and Grandmaster and stuff like that is kind of its own thing. I want to talk the rank system in Granblue. I guess if you are somehow unfamiliar, all the ranks are on screen right here. E is like essentially, I don't know how you get this, but the game when you first boot it up, it asks you how familiar you are with fighting games. And if you say you're a beginner, it puts you in D. If you say you have some experience, it puts you in C. And if you say you can take on anyone, it puts you in B. And then you have to go up from there, right? And a quick summary of how the rank system currently is from D rank all the way to A rank, you cannot D rank, right? D rank and D rank are two different words, I promise, right? You cannot D rank in any of those ranks, right? As well, you also get win streak bonuses. I believe the win streaks stop at A. I believe you can win streak until you get to A, and then you can't win streak out of A. Actually, it's been a little bit too. Are there still win streaks in A? Any knowers? They stop at S. Oh, okay. So in which case, until A rank, you can't demote, and you can win streak, right? Once you get to S rank, that's sort of the first big jump in difficulty in terms of how mean the system is. Once you get to S rank, now you can demote back down to A, and the win streaks go away. However, this entire time, from D to S, and even to S+, this is a newer change, you can climb with a 33% win rate. Because you lose half a gem for losing, and you gain a full gem for winning. In every rank, up to and including S+, right? S rank is also where promotions start happening. In A rank, so you have gems, and when you win, you fill the gems up, and you go from like A5 to A4 to A3 to A2 to A1. When you fill that bar up in A, you just go to S rank, right? Whereas in S rank, when you go to S1 and you fill that bar up, you have to do promos, where you have to win 3 out of 5 matches, right? Same thing for S+. You get to S+1, you have to do promos, you have to win 3 out of 5 matches in a row, and then S++, you have to win 4 out of 5 matches. So promos start at S. And then, again, we can climb with a negative win rate until S+. Once you get to S++, then it's 50-50. You lose a gem for losing and gain a gem for winning, right? There are some exceptions to this, but they don't matter right now, right? So there is a very nice gradient to Granblue ranked right now in like these non-master ranks that I very much enjoy. I think it's you stop at S5 or go back to A1 like before, you can D rank. Yeah. So once you get to S, you can D rank. So if you get to S5 and you fully empty out your gems and lose again, you'll go back down to A1. S is the first rank where this is true. Every other rank below that, you can't D-rank. So, with that little explanation out of the way, the clear thing they're trying to go for with all these non-master rank ranks is that it is sort of an introduction to the game, right? Like, here you can climb with like a very low win rate as long as your win rate comes in like spurts as well, so you get the win streaks, right? You also are, you are losing half as much as you're gaining, and you can't even demote, right? Like, for most of the rank system here, like, it's very, very generous. And then even once you get to like S and S plus, you climb probably, unless you're like losing 3 matches for every 1 that you win, you're probably climbing still, right? So designed to be quite like it seems like it's intended to be sort of easing you in to a more difficult ranked experience, because we'll talk about Master and GM later, but they're actually quite unforgiving, especially GM, right? And then S++ is sort of that last gatekeeping wall there of like, okay, well, now you have to actually win more than you lose. Can you do that? And also promos are tough, right? S++ promos, Masters promos rather, are quite hard. You have to win 4 out of 5 matches. 4 out of your next 5 matches, you have to win it, like not in a row, but pretty much, right? You can only lose 1 match. So that's a good thing. Just to quickly, I think I've heard a lot of discourse about some people being like, I think the rank system is too easy. I think it's like, you know, people are in S rank who shouldn't be in S rank. People are in S plus who shouldn't be in S plus. It's a lot of times people saying like, I'm not good enough to be in S rank or S plus. It's okay. It's not that serious, right? I think it's totally fine for a lot of the rank system to be very forgiving. I think it's fine, right? With that in mind, though, there is a part of this design that I don't think really fits in with that. Current rank system in Rising works really good. IMO separates people a bit better than SF6, and it surpasses T8 in every aspect by a parsec. Yeah. So, I think there's one aspect of how the rank system is currently set up in these like non-master ranks that I talked about. Funny enough, this is one of my first videos that ever got like a reasonable amount of views. Was a video like where the intro clip was me talking about this aspect of the rank system, right? And it is that the way the game works, as long as it has enough of a population, the game will always try to match you to people in your letter grade. If it can't find anyone, then like it'll skirt those rules a bit. But by and large, the game will always try to match you to people in your same letter grade. Now, that might sound like a good thing, right? Like, why does that matter? Of course, you want to play people close to your skill level, right? Why does that matter? But the thing is, that's not really how it ends up working a lot of the time, right? Because the Granblue ranks, there's not that many of them, as you can see, right? So actually, like, there tends to be like a decent skill gap between the lower division of a rank and the highest one, right? Like A5 to A1 or like S5 to S1 is not that similar, right? Like there actually is like a pretty decent skill gap between them. So the problem that usually occurs is there is a very notable thing. If you've played Granblue ranked for any amount of time, you have experienced the new rank ping pong, right? Where it feels like when you first get into a letter, say like this starting at S, so we can D-rank, right? When you first get into a letter, you spend a lot of time going between S5 and A1, and 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 S5 and A1. And the reason for that is because you're like better than all the guys in A rank, you're better than all the A5s and A4s and A3s, but you are just not good enough to be beating like the S2s and the S1s and the S3s. So what happens a lot of the time is you get into your letter grade, immediately like O2 to an S1, go back down to A, 2-0 the guy from like A4 you just fought, go back up to S, and, you know, just go over and over like this. And I think this makes the ranked experience a little bit more jagged than it has to be, right? I think it will be a much smoother gradient of difficulty across ranked if instead of always matching you with your exact letter grade, if it could help it. I've always, yes, it's true, yeah, even if it's like not like a bad system, people get sad about it. Like, I've definitely seen a lot of people being sad about the fact that, like, you know, I just got to S, I immediately get booted out. It gives you, like, a feeling of, like, imposter syndrome, right? And again, you might be like, oh, the little pussy baby doesn't want his rank system to challenge him. Yes, not until we get higher up, right? I think it's okay to make it beginner-friendly, because, people have ranked anxiety. I made a whole video on ranked anxiety. We talked about it at length, right? And, like, I know it's a first-world problem. You can talk about it all you want. But the point is, though, that games should be fun, right? Games should be fun, and not everyone who wants to play the fighting game wants to engage with the fighting game on such like a sweaty, hardcore level. I want to engage with my fighting game on a sweaty, hardcore level. I'm like doing math on cancels to tell you exactly how many frames it saves me so I can know exactly what comes into what and shit. Like, I'm like, you know, and like, I'm making videos about like safe jump setups and shit. Like, everyone, I like that kind of shit. Not everyone who plays fighting games is trying to get like super duper good at them. They're like, you know, beginners, intermediates, they just want to like have a good time. They're like not trying to get super into it. In which case, having the rank system, the lower parts of the rank system, like we'll talk about Master and GM later, having the lower parts of the rank system be like kind of like just be like overly nice to you sounds good to me. Because that means that more people will play ranked instead of just casuals. And ranked actually is a very nice place to fight people of your skill level. And it can convert more casual players into people who want to play a little bit, you know, more seriously. And those are the kind of people that stick with the game, right? Those people are the ones that keep the game alive long term. So getting more casual players to feel more comfortable playing ranked so that some of them might turn into more competitively minded players is good for the game. And the way you do this is by making the rank system not make you want to kill yourself, right? So I think it's a good thing that the system is relatively easy for most of it. And with that in mind, I think the fact that like it might cause some ranked anxiety or it might just be not fun for people is something we should try to minimize. So that's a big preamble to say that the current ping-ponging system is a little disheartening, right? And one of the ways you could fix that, I think, is that instead of matching you with just guys in your letter grade, what it could do is just have a range of, I'm gonna call the letter grades ranks and the like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 divisions, okay? Just for clarity here. So, instead of caring about your rank at all, it could just have a range, a 5 division range of who you fight, right? So, say you were an A2, right? Your matchmaking pool would be guys in A4, guys in A3, guys in A2, guys in A1, and guys in S5, right? And it would be like a moving average like this, right? It would always be 2 ranks below you and 2 ranks above you. I think this would overall make the system a lot smoother, right? And I don't think that would be like a horrendously hard thing to do matchmaking wise. Tekken does this, for example. They tell you how many like different dans you want to have your matchmaking range be, right? So I think that to me is the only real problem that I have left with the like non-master ranks. I think my fundamental issue with rank system designs are gating with promos, not in Granblue, but in general matchmaking. I think initial promos make sense, figure out some of the skill level. Oh yeah, no. I think it's a very good thing. I think that once you pass your promos once in Granblue, you don't have to do them again. I think that's great, right? Rank I decided to mainstay this game. My previous experience was Strive, so nothing could be worse than that. Yeah, a good rank system is very important for the health of the game, right? Don't they kind of do this already, except it doesn't go... Yeah, it not going across letter ranks is the problem, right? It's not going across letter ranks is what makes it so that the A1 has too easy of a time, and the A5 has too hard of a time. The S5, the S1. The S plus 5, the S plus 1. Them not doing it across letter ranks is what causes it so that once you enter a letter grade, there's a huge bump suddenly, right? Because you go from fighting A1s to S1s, right? So, again, I think having that range where it can cross letter ranks is a good idea. D to A rank are too irrelevant? I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. I disagree. Right? Like, I think they're fine. They're super easy, right? But like again, but it's for like, you know, it's for like beginners. So why not? But yeah, so that to me is my only real gripe, I think. I think probably should force you to fight 5-4 of the next rank. No, I disagree strongly, Leia. I disagree strongly. There's no need. All you need to prove is that you are good enough you are better than the guys in your rank. Right? It guarantees it won't be. No, it is at that point. The only thing that's swingy about it is all you did, Leia, was move the problem back a step. Instead of moving the problem from S5, you moved it to from S plus 5, you moved it to S rank promos, right? You didn't remove the problem, you just shifted it backward. So I think that's you know, no disrespect, I think that's a really bad idea. I think that's one of the things that Celestial does really poorly as well, right? In Guild, but Guilty Gear has like a lot of different problems with its rank system, right? That I don't think you should be like. I think promos are I disagree. In Granblue, no, not at all. I don't think so at all, right? The promos are handled just fine in Granblue. I don't think it makes sense to prove that you are better than the people in the rank you are trying to get into, right? I'm talking about Granblue, yeah. If you can beat 3 out of 5, if you can have a positive win rate against guys in the next letter rank, it doesn't. Then why do they skip you to master, right? Like that's silly. That's silly to me. I don't think I believe in that. You don't usually fight S1, S5. In my experience, though, I think going across letter ranks makes sense. It is. I fight at least one. I fight a lot of like S1s, S2s. I'm an S5. It feels like, right? Master rank feels easy nowadays. I don't think that's a problem, Kina. Again, I think you have a different conception of what you want rank to be. I think so. I was saying like I think it's a good thing that the rank system like eases you into master. I think you disagree. That's okay. But I think the system is fine as is. We'll talk about master though, right? So with this in mind, right? So again, I think that's my only real gripe with the non-master ranks is that I think they should do a rank range that can span letter ranks, right? So let's talk about master, right? Because master, I think, is actually probably the worst part of Granblue's rank system I think overall they've done a pretty good job with the rank system before Master Rank. But I think they're really trying to do a lot with Master and keep trying new things. It doesn't feel like it's quite working, right? Also, Dark Dawn, thank you for the follow, right? How to get to WoW rank? It's there. It's there. You know, you just have to. All you have to do is like you have to beat all the arcade bosses without taking any hits, and with a level 1 super, and then Akuma comes in and kills Bison, and then it's great, right? So we need more ranks. I disagree. I don't think so. So here's what I think is the big thing with Master Rank. I've said this before, right? I've said this before, and I think it's hard to really argue against this, right? Yes, Master Rank. The problem with Master Rank as it stands right now is that how many gems you have is largely, in large part, a reflection of how often you play the video game, right? That's not necessarily true, and it's less true now than it used to be. So, for example, okay, it used to just be Master, and then they added Grandmaster, right? They added Grandmaster, which is the top 10 masters of every character, and then it used to be that you would gain more than you would lose, right? In Grandmaster, they made Grandmaster battles a zero-sum game, right? Grandmaster battles are gain 50 gems, lose 50 gems, right? The higher ranked players put more hours than the lower characters. No, but okay, here's the thing. I've been talking this whole time about how I think it's okay that the rank system is not sweaty and that it's not too punishing and things like this. I think once you get to Master Rank, right? You've been GM battles are good, yeah. But I think still that change was an improvement. Making GM battles zero sum was a good thing. Because again, it skews it more towards win rate than anything else, right? You can still fight like regular masters, and then like you can get slight gems even on a negative win rate. But yeah, I think that was a good change. However, I think it's just trying too hard to emulate a system that already exists, that is the ideal system for this. And I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. And that system is ELO. I have talked about this a lot, right? I've talked about this a lot, but I think Street Fighter 6 has the best master system, and it just doesn't, and it's not Street Fighter 6, it's fucking chess, right? There is no need to reinvent the wheel. If you don't know what ELO is exactly, it is just, you know, there's a whole formula for it and stuff like that, but it's basically, you have a number that is assigned to you, that is usually like, you know, 1,000, 1,500 to start off with, whatever you want, depends on like the population size and all that, right? We're not gonna get into the math of it, but the point is, when you play someone, you gain a certain amount of points and you take them directly from them, it's zero sum, based on the difference in your ELOs, right? If you beat someone who is way higher ranked than you, like if you're like if you are familiar with chess at all, this makes sense to you, right? But if you're like a 1200 and you beat an 1800, which should be like impossible by the system, right? Then you get like a shit ton of points, right? But if you're like 1800 and you lose to a 1200, you lose a shit ton of points, right? Why is this a better system than what Granblue currently has? Two reasons, I think. One, it kind of adds a lot more stratification to Master that is hard to do right now. Now, I will say, you could argue, this is the one counterpoint to ELO, I think. ELO systems function the best in large populations, right? You need large population sizes for ELO to be able to properly stratify you and match you up with people close to your ELO, right? There are not that many people in Granblue Master. It is a smaller player-based game in general, so you might end up with a lot of mismatched, like, you know, you might be like a 1200 fighting 1400s like all the time, right? But still, it might not be perfect. I still think, Kino was talking about adding more ranks, for example, I think this kind of adds more ranks. And if you've played SF6, you kind of know that, like, Master feels like multiple different ranks, even though it is one rank, right? 1100 MR Master and 1200 MR Master, 1300, 1400, 1500, 16, 17, 18, 19, they all feel very different. Every 100 MR feels like a gap, right? What happens if you're at 0 ELO and you lose in that system? I don't think that, like, ever happens, right? So I think this adds a lot more stratification, right, into Master that I think could be helpful, right? Maybe implement ELO as part of Master Rank specifically. I mean, you could do it just for GMs, but then that, again, the problem is, also, I don't know if you could go to 0. I think it's like asymptotic at a certain point, right? Yeah, exactly. I think the problem is, yeah, that like your ELO functions better the more people it has to work with, right? Realistically, like a low population would just like make the max ELO lower than otherwise could be, right? The max achievable ELO in an ELO system is oftentimes capped by it, kind of like it's an ecosystem, right? It balances out to roughly like an equilibrium number based on the people who are there, right? Like it ends up requiring like exorbitant win rates or loss rates to not be in a certain elo range if you don't have a certain population, right? So, point being that even with Granblue having a bit of a lower master population than a game like a lot lower of a master population than a game like SF6, I think it still would be fine. It's just you couldn't get to like 2,000 MR, right? So the big thing this does is it stratifies rank master. You have multiple different sub ranks in master, and it also makes it so that it is purely win rates, right? If you have like one really good day, you can get like 100 elo, right? Like if you're just beating everyone you're fighting, right? You're going to like rocket up very quickly because it is very generous with gains if you win, because it kind of assumes that you should be having an even win rate if you're at your correct elo. So if you're like, if you're at like 1,000 MR, but you actually should be like 1,600, you're gonna get there very quickly, right? So the grind is not as important, and I think it is a much better reflection of like if you see the guy who's like, number 1 MR in SF6 for a character, it's not 1-to-1. It's not the best player of that character, but like the top 10 MR rankings for a character, outside of like Japan being weird and Japan having kind of like inflated, SF6 has its own issues with its elo implementation, right? Like if you take Japan, you take like the top 8 Akumas in Japan by MR, the odds like those guys are at least some of the best Akumas like up there is very. You can look at that and just like make that conclusion, right? Whereas in Granblue, while it's certainly true and it's certainly indicative, I think it's less indicative, just because a lot of it really does come down to, one, who you get match made into, since there's such a big difference in getting match made into GMs versus non-GMs, whether you are a GM or not a GM. And two, it is definitely a lot more representative of how long you spend playing the video game, right? Gotta hit the hay. Have a greatest of your night, Lord Brickerton the First. Thanks, gotcha. See ya. So, I think it is, I will say though, the reason why makes system constantly self-correcting, the reason why I don't think we should include this in the non-master ranks, right, is because it is a very mean system. It's harsh, man. Like, if you have like a bad day, kind of similar to how GM is right now, but like honestly a little bit worse even. Like if you're having a bad day, right, like you'll lose a lot of MR and then like, or elo or whatever, right, and then like because you're losing, it like thinks you belong in a lower MR. So like suddenly it takes you, like it matches you against a guy who's like 200 elo lower than you, and then God forbid you lose that, you lose like 15 elo in a single match, right? Like it is a very punishing system. So I definitely do not think that we should include it for anything besides master rank, right? I think, again, to reiterate, I think the non-master ranks are perfect almost, except for letting the rank range cross letters by default, right? But listen, once you're in master, you are still in, I don't know exactly what portion of the population it is, but like it's gotta be like, it's probably not more than like 6% or something, right? Like everyone in master, it used to be like 2, but I think it's definitely more now, right? It can't be more than like 5-6% of the player base, right? So like you are sweaty enough that like, we can put you in the blender. We can put you in like a very nasty system and have it be purely reflective of skill and nothing else, right? So me personally, that's something that that's the big thing that I think they should overhaul with master rank in Granblue, right? And they probably could. I don't think it's like they're not super far off, right? They aren't super far off with the current GM system. I just think it's like an inelegant, half-assed implementation of an elo system. So they're trying to do like a zero-sum, zero-sum game. Like you lose as much as you gain, but unless you get matched into a master. But then if you're a master, you get matched into a GM. You get like 75 when you win, and it's kind of weird. You can get to 10 rank like you can get to the 10th rank for GM like quite easily if you have like even a decent win rate. But like if you want to get to like 9th or 8th or 7th or 6th or like God forbid top 3, it gets really weird and finicky, right? And like that border of GM like is always swapping and shit. It's like they're not that far off. They're not that far off, and I don't think it's a horrible system as it is right now in Master. Again, it just feels like a clunky way to implement elo when, like, why not just fucking do it? Like, why reinvent the wheel, right? Yeah, I mean, if you don't want, again, if you don't want to do that because you're worried about populations, the Grandmaster system is probably about as good as you can get as it currently stands, right? It just feels, I don't know, it feels weirdly clunky to me still, right? Like, I'm trying to think, like, if you don't put Elo in, is there anything else you could do that's, like, keeping the current system as is with, like, minor tweaks to make it better, right? And I don't really think so. Again, they didn't do anything horrible with the system. I just think it could be better, right? I think it's fine to put, like, the super sweats in the super sweat rank. The issue with GM is master. Yeah, I mean, it is, yeah, like, if GMs only ever fought other GMs, it would basically be Elo, right? But again, there's too few of them that way, right? So yeah, there's only 300 of them that way. So, like, you are, even if Granblue was the most popular game in the entire world, you are hard limiting the GM population all the time, right? So, what you can do instead is have the Elo system, and then have, you can even do this exact same fucking thing, honestly. Have the top 10 players of every character, Elo-wise, be, you know, Grandmaster for their character, right? You don't even have to, like, rework that. All it does is it makes the entire thing a zero-sum game, though. But it also does still keep the benefit of, like, if you beat someone who's higher ranked than you, you still get way more points, right? Oh yeah, with different servers, yeah, exactly. You know, just making GMs just fight GMs is a bad idea. I think what we should do instead is expand the zero sum out to the whole rank, right? Out to both master and GM. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just to recap real quick, right? I think that about covers all of my thoughts on the rank system for Granblue, right? I think it's good. Again, this is not meant to be a system like, I think it's gotten a lot better too, right? Like, this is something that I'm like, even if Cygames don't change the rank system the way that I want them to in Season 2, every change they have made, I think, has been positive, right? I like the way they are moving with the rank system, right? Making it so, like, you know, adding GM, making GM zero sum, making it so that S plus and S lose half gems, making it so S++ loses no gems against Master. Every change they have made, I have found to be pretty positive. So I trust them. If they're going to make any sort of changes, I trust it to be good changes. This is just what, if I could plug controller up Fukuhara's ass and tell him what to do, this is what I would do, right? Yeah. Overall, though, very good, right? We'll see. I don't even know if they, like, are gonna change it in Season 2 or what, but, you heard me. I will say, more than the Master rank changes, I think I would like the non-Master range change there, right? Where you can, like, it's 2 guys lower, 2 guys higher, and it can cross letter boundaries. That, to me, is, like, my most desired change for the rank system. I think Master and GM is okay enough. It's functional as it currently stands. It's, like, way better than, like, Celestial, for example, in Guilty Gear. Of course, you know, shitting on Strive's rank system is, like, it's kind of unfair. It's low-hanging fruit, right? But, like, I think that, again, like, letting the non-master ranks being able to fight, like, you know, if you're A4, you fight, I guess if you're, like, S4, you fight S5, A1, and S3 and S2. That's it, right? And S4, obviously, right? So I think that's the big thing. I think that, for me, is the big thing. The Elo thing, I can see issues with Elo due to population, so I'm not going to be, like, put my balls on the table and be like, no, you should fucking do this, it's a great idea, because I can see how, for a smaller game, Elo might have some weirdness in the matchmaking. I still think it will be better overall, but yeah. Celestial will be in game design textbooks as a worst case example of rank. Yeah, the whole tower for Guilty Gear is a fucking mess, man. It's just, like, this is not good. They did their best. I think they had good intentions, but they just did not land. And then it's exasperated by the lobby system and stuff. It's not good. It's not good. The only time the range will be clipped is when your S++ can't cross. Yeah, I mean, true, yeah. But I mean, again, S++ being, like, a little bit harder is fine by me, right? S++ being a little bit harder is okay. It is, like, the final wall before you get, because, like, say, for example, we do implement Elo, right? That makes Master much meaner than it currently is, right? So, like, S++ kind of being a little bit harsher to get you ready for the real world seems fine by me, right? Like, it's always, like, you have to have a positive win rate, the promos are harder, yeah, you're gonna get, like, that S++5 into thing, right, into S++1, like, that ping pong is gonna happen. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Me personally. But yeah, that is gonna do it, I think, for the video. I think the last thing we're gonna do today before we just, like, chill for a bit and wait for, the SF6 patch notes to drop is probably going to be, ranking every command grab in the video game. So, we'll do that. But, real quick, VOD watchers, hello, hi, hope you had a good time with the video. If you did, any kind of likes, subscribes, comments, bells, all that good stuff helps out a lot. You know how I'll be. I also stream every day from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, except for Fridays. So, hope you, if you want to come by and hang out, certainly can, Twitch or YouTube. I also, it's, yeah, so Granblue is Sunday, Street Fighter is Monday, Tuesday is, Monday is Guilty Gear, Tuesday is Street Fighter. So if you're interested in either of those games, you know, come by on those days. Most importantly, also I have a Discord as well. I'm losing it. It's been too long. I've been streaming for too long today. But yeah, also I have a Discord if you want to come by and hang out. It's a great place to get some matches, make some friends. If you do join, they'll be nice, or I'll shoot you in the head in Minecraft. Most importantly, hope you had a great time hanging out today, as always. I know I sure did. Let me know what you think about the rank system, I guess, if you disagree with anything I said. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.